Hi everybody out there, welcome to a new episode of The Good, The Bad and The Bitcoin. Bitcoin spot ETFs seem to be just around the corner, and if we want to believe some of the more, let's call them half official sources out there, it seems like as early as this week, Wednesday, the 10th of January, the SEC could already greenlight all of the Bitcoin spot applications out there, so nobody of the likes like BlackRock and Fidelity have an advantage, a time advantage over their competition. However, what does that really mean for us traders? How can we behave in this setting, and how can we possibly capitalize also on the volatility that this is for sure going to cause on the market? For us as traders, of course, it's important to prepare for an event like this and, if possible, to capitalize on this. The good news is you do not need, in my opinion, to make a decision right now whether or not this is going to be a positive or a negative event for the short-term price development of Bitcoin. As you can see, I've already loaded a Bitcoin US dollar chart into my trading view. In this case, I'm working with a weekly chart. You might ask now, why a weekly chart there? Because we are talking about short-term reactions. Well, I always like to go top down, so I want to analyze first what is the current trend, and from there you'll see it's very easy also to already determine where would be a good place to put more orders. Now, the first thing we want to notice here is, and I think this is very self-explanatory, we want to analyze in what kind of trend are we right now. And it's very easy to say, in my opinion at least, that we are currently in an uptrend. And an uptrend is of course characterized by higher highs and higher lows, and you can see we had a low here, which was our bear market low around 16,000 US dollars, followed by a low here, followed by a low here, and followed by so far the last low we had here. So we had a series of higher lows here, which defines at least 50% of a bull market. And another definition of a bull market is, of course, that we also need higher highs, which also was the case here, which was the case here, and which was the case here, and which currently, if we think that this might be the local top of Bitcoin, is here. So why is that important? Because this gives us already a direction of, or a preferred direction in which we want to place our trades in this case, which means in an uptrend we want to kind of avoid the short trades, because we are trading against a weekly trend, which of course is very, very strong. Does not mean that on shorter time frames, if you work with 5 minute, 50 minutes, 1 hour charts, or maybe even 1 minute charts, that there of course are also drawdowns. But right now I want to get the whole picture first before deciding on a short time frame where then to finally place my order. Now, the next thing we can do is we can actually measure how much time was there always between a low and the next low. And you can see in one case here, it was around 17 weeks. Then from this low to the next low, which was here, was 14 weeks. Remember, this is a weekly chart. And then we had from here to here 13 weeks. So around 13 to 17 weeks from each low to each low. If we project now this into the future, 13 weeks would mean this here. If we go all the way here to 17 weeks, we won't land here, which is the current week we are in. So somewhere, if the trend continues like it did before, somewhere in between here, we could actually expect now that we see another local low of Bitcoin. One thing that is very characteristic for Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the way it really likes to behave in bull markets and bear markets. And for that, I'm going to use something here which is called the bull market support bands, which is very, very easy. Actually, it just consists of a simple moving average with a length of 20 weeks and an exponential moving average with a length of 21 weeks. So you get those two here. If you want to use it as a ready-made indicator, you just need to go up here to indicators and trading view and search for bull market support bands with projections from low tech junkie, I think this name is here. So thank you for programming this indicator for us, low tech junkie. If you're watching this, very, very helpful in this case. You can, of course, just use your own simple moving average with 20 weeks and exponential moving average with 21 weeks length, and you'll get the same result here. The next thing we need is another simple moving average with a length of 8 weeks, which is the blue line here. I want you to notice that in these drawdown phases where Bitcoin makes a higher low in an uptrend, usually what you'll see is that once the 8 weeks moving average gets broken to the downside with a closing price, you will see the price correcting all the way into this bull market support band. So it happened here. It also happened once we closed here. It also happened here. The only difference, of course, is here that the bull market support bands were still closer to Bitcoin. If you go back in time here and you look at the bear market of late 2021 all the way to 2020, end of 2022, you can see the same results. Once on a closing basis, the moving average, the 8 weeks moving average is broken. You see the price going to the bull market support bands, then it continues in the direction. It's like, of course, not always the case that it like touches everything, but the tendency is there. So what we should do now, what I'm doing at a trader now is I don't really care for now whether this is going to be a positive or negative event for Bitcoin. All I care about is I want to see if we have a week where the price closes below this 8-week simple moving average. Because if this would be the case, and let's say this week's close is going to be down here at 41,000 US dollars, which clearly is, of course, below the the 8-week simple moving average. What I would do then is I would judge this as a bearish sign that the price of Bitcoin probably is going all the way down here to the bull market support band, where I then want to be ready again with limit buy orders. I do not want to short the market because I do not think this is very wise to do in a strong bull market that we currently have in Bitcoin. Because also remember, if the price goes all the way down here to the bull market support bands, we are still talking about a higher low again. So the bull market is still intact. So you might want to have maybe one order ready here at around 36,700. If this already happens this week, maybe one order ready around 35,000 US dollars. Ironically, and this in my opinion also supports my case here, it's also very much in line in terms of what we have seen in those phases in terms of price reduction. So if you look here, for example, once we made this bear market low and switched into bull market mode again, from the highest high here, the first to the lowest low, local low, we had around 21.7% of a pullback. Then again, here we had a pullback of around 20%, 19.5%. The next pullback here was again around almost 22%, 21.7%. So if we do this projection and we say from the highest high, which was around here, like shortly below 45,000 US dollars, and we go by 20% lower, we actually land pretty much here in the middle of our bull market support bands. So should we see the close really below the 8 weeks moving average, I think it's very, very likely that we see a pullback to the bull market support band. Now, if this doesn't happen and the market reacts positively to the Bitcoin ETF news, so it's coming out, really there's a lot of money flooding in immediately, everybody continues to be euphoric, we see prices of, let's say, 47 or 48,000 US dollars, well, then we are on good terms anyway, because we have our long-term Bitcoin positions that are going to profit from this. So that's it, guys. This is really as easy as it gets. You don't need like super fancy indicators. You don't need to listen to any influencer out there. All you need is a weekly chart. your own two eyes, a bit of analyzing methods, and voila, you have a strategy. You know exactly what to do when. So if you agree with me on this one, please leave me a comment. If you do not agree with me on this one, which of course is totally okay again, I would like to know what your current strategy is on Bitcoin. In any cases, remember to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel. I publish new weeks about my own trading strategy here on YouTube every week. So yeah, see you again, and until we see each other again, happy investing.